What if I told you peace doesn't vanish in one moment, it fades in silence, not with a scream, not with chaos, but with routine conversations, smiles that hide resentment, favors dressed as friendship. You're not exhausted because you're weak. You're exhausted because you keep handing over pieces of yourself to people who give nothing back. No battles, no blood, just slow, consistent theft. And the thieves, they don't wear masks. They sit beside you, they share your table, they live in your phone. These are the people you were trained to accommodate, to comfort, to save. But here's the truth no one teaches. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, and access is everything. Every text you answer out of guilt, every call you take that drains your focus, every conversation that leaves you doubting yourself. These are the weapons, software polite, deadly. You keep thinking the enemy will be obvious, angry, aggressive, loud. But the most dangerous ones? They're calm, familiar, wrapped in shared memories and fake concern. You'll recognize them by the way you feel after they leave. Empty, confused, shrinking. These 6 types of people aren't here to destroy you. They're here to distract you. And distraction is a slow death. You think you're just being patient. You're not. You're bleeding. This isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming clean. Cut them off. Without apology, without explanation, without ceremony. Peace is not given. Peace is guarded. The moment you stop managing other people's comfort, you start reclaiming your own power. Comment this now. I cut quietly. I rise alone. Say it again if it makes them uncomfortable. That means it's working. You weren't born to explain yourself. You were born to observe, to endure, and when necessary, to walk away without flinching. This is where emotion ends and evolution begins. This is not kindness. This is clarity. You are not here to please. You are here to dominate your own mind, one cut at a time, one ghost at a time, one silence at a time. This is Stoic Spark, and your ascension begins now. Number 1. The guilt trapper. You know them. They don't demand. They imply. After everything I've done for you, I just thought you'd be there. It's never direct. That's the trap. They wear disappointment like perfume, subtle, lingering, hard to ignore. And suddenly you're saying yes to things that don't serve you, to people who don't see you, just to avoid the sting of their silence. They've mastered a form of control, more powerful than anger, emotional debt. But here's the rule you were never taught. You owe nothing to people who trade help for control. True loyalty isn't leveraged. It's given without keeping score. The guilt trapper isn't always cruel. Sometimes they're family. Sometimes they're friends. But make no mistake, they don't love you. They love your obedience, and obedience is the first thing you must burn to become dangerous. Stop explaining. Stop apologizing. Stop picking up the guilt they keep laying at your feet. This is your silence. Guard it. Comment this now. No one owns my guilt. I cut the leash. Let the trap snap shut. You won't be in it. On to the next. Number 2, the subtle competitor. They smile when you win, but only with their mouth. Watch their eyes. These are the people who treat your success like a threat wrapped in compliments. Wow, must be nice. You're lucky things work out for you. They pretend to clap, but underneath they're counting your steps and planning to outpace you. The subtle competitor doesn't attack you. They mimic you. They study you. And then they try to quietly erase your edge by matching your moves while undermining your name. You'll feel it. A tension around your wins, a chill in the praise, a silence in your highlight moments. Here's what they hate the most: your growth without their permission. And the moment they realize they can't control your momentum, they'll try to poison it. But you don't rise by shrinking to fit their comfort. You rise by making peace with their discomfort. Because power doesn't compete. Power just is. Let them chase. Let them copy. Let them boil in their private envy. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to protect your energy. Comment this now. I don't compete, I dominate in silence. Smile less, watch more, let them keep guessing, on to the next. Number 3, the emotional leech. They don't come with fangs, they don't roar, they sigh, they vent. They lean on you so subtly you mistake the weight for loyalty. This is the emotional leech, a master of disguised dependency. At first it feels harmless. You listen. You care. You think you're being a good friend. But time reveals the pattern. Every conversation becomes a confessional. Every message begins with a crisis. And every solution you offer? Dismissed, rejected, ignored. Because they don't want answers. They want attachment. Misery is their identity. And your attention is the mirror that reflects it. You think you're helping. But what you're really doing is anchoring yourself to a sinking ship. The leech doesn't just drain your time, they drain your mental clarity, your emotional balance, your spiritual bandwidth. You walk away from the conversation, heavier than when you entered. They feed on sympathy. They grow stronger through your reactions. And the more you give, the weaker you become. But here's the psychological edge. They only exist where they're allowed. Your kindness is not the problem. Your lack of boundaries is. Understand this. You are not obligated to be anyone's emotional landfill. You were not built to carry wounds that aren't yours. Some people bleed on purpose, not because they want to heal, but because they want company in their suffering. They reject growth because growth would mean losing the only identity they've ever known, the victim. And the moment you stop feeding that identity, you become the enemy. You'll hear it in their tone. You've changed. You don't care anymore. But that's not truth. That's withdrawal. They were never connecting with you. They were connecting with your supply. Here's the rule. You don't owe your peace for someone else's chaos. Real strength is knowing when to listen and when to leave. It's understanding that compassion without limits becomes self-destruction. Silence is your weapon. Distance is your armor. Let them talk. Let them spiral. Let them accuse you of being cold. Because cold is calm, cold is clear, cold is controlled. That's what they fear the most. Your refusal to play the emotional hostage. And when they realize they can no longer feed on you, they'll do what all leeches do. Detach on their own and look for softer skin. So let them go. You are not the cure, you are not the savior, you are not their emotional infrastructure. You are your own foundation, and anything that shakes that dash must be removed. Comment this now. I protect my energy like currency. Not everyone earns it. Say it again. Not for them, but for the version of you that still thinks empathy means overexposure. Let go of that illusion. Your calm is sacred. Your mind is sovereign. You don't need to yell. You don't need to explain. You don't even need to block. Just disengage. Let the silence speak your decision. This is psychological detachment. This is strategic peace. And this is the beginning of your mental domination. On to the next. Number 4, the passive controller. Control doesn't always come with rules. Sometimes it comes with a smile. The passive controller doesn't bark orders. They manipulate your choices softly. Are you sure you want to do that? That's just not like you. I'm just looking out for you. And slowly, without noticing, you start adjusting your behavior, just to avoid the quiet judgment in their voice. You don't feel free. You feel watched. These are the ones who never tell you what to do. They just make you question your own instincts. It's not domination, it's influence, wrapped in familiarity. And it's more dangerous than direct control, because it makes you doubt your own will. Every decision becomes a mental chess game. You hesitate. You second guess. You wonder if you're being selfish, reckless, too ambitious. Not because you are, but because someone quietly planted that narrative in your head. This is not guidance. This is psychological tethering. Their power doesn't come from control. It comes from your need for approval. And that's what you must destroy. Approval is the leash, doubt is the chain, and freedom begins the moment you stop asking for permission to be yourself. The passive controller thrives in your uncertainty. But here's the switch. When you stop explaining, when you stop pausing, when you stop inviting opinions into decisions, they lose their grip. You become unpredictable, and to a controller, unpredictability is death. You don't owe anyone consistency with the version of you they're comfortable with. You're allowed to evolve, loudly, silently, suddenly, and when you do, the passive controller will try to shrink you back down with phrases like, "You've changed. You're not the same person anymore." Good. That means you're growing. That means the cage is cracking. Understand this clearly. You are not cold for choosing clarity. You are not cruel for protecting your mind. You are only dangerous to those who rely on your self-doubt to feel powerful. So stop inviting subtle manipulation into sacred spaces. You don't need their comfort. You need your command back. And command doesn't whisper. It doesn't explain. It just moves. Comment this now. I move without permission. I cut the unseen strings. And mean it. Watch how the controllers squirm when their silence no longer shapes you. Watch how their influence dissolves. When your decisions no longer seek their shadow, you're not here to be managed. You're here to become untouchable. And untouchable begins where influence ends. On to the next. Number 5. The chronic victim. There's a difference between pain and identity. One you pass through, the other you wear. The chronic victim chooses to wear it. They don't seek healing, they seek attention. Every room they enter must orbit around their suffering. Their hardship is not a season, it's a brand. At first, you feel empathy. You listen, you validate, but then you notice something. They never move forward. Every breakthrough becomes another breakdown. Progress is an enemy, because without pain, they have no identity. And if they lose the story of their suffering, they lose the spotlight. But here's the cost. When you stay close to someone who refuses to rise, they'll start pulling you back down. Not out of malice, but out of fear. Your growth makes them feel abandoned. Your discipline makes them feel exposed. Your boundaries become insults. Because when someone builds a life around being broken, healing feels like betrayal. And that betrayal, they'll project it onto you. You'll hear it in the subtext. You think you're better than me now. Must be nice to have it all figured out. These aren't observations, they're emotional traps. Traps designed to guilt you into staying small. But you don't owe your light to those who've chosen to live in shadow. Pain is real, but suffering is a choice, and some people make it daily. You don't rise by carrying those who refuse to walk, and you don't serve anyone by drowning with them. Detachment isn't cruelty, it's clarity. You are allowed to separate from people who romanticize victimhood. You are allowed to protect your momentum from those who turn progress into betrayal. Comment this now. I rise without guilt. I walk without weight. And walk you must, because the chronic victim doesn't want solutions. They want sympathy on demand, and when you stop supplying it, they'll call you cold. But here's the deeper truth. They don't miss your support. They miss your obedience. They miss the way your life paused for their pain, the way your energy bent to their story, the way your light was dimmed, just enough to make them feel safe. That's not compassion, that's control. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. So step back, step up, step out. You are not here to be emotionally shackled. You are not here to be a constant witness to another's stagnation. You are here to evolve. And anything or anyone that chains you to the past must be released with silence, with peace, with precision, on to the next. Number 6, the entitled taker. Some people don't ask, they expect. The entitled taker doesn't thank you, because in their mind, what you give is simply what they deserve. They see your time as flexible, your energy as infinite, your boundaries as temporary inconveniences, and worst of all, they never think they're taking, because they've built the belief that your value exists to serve their needs. The moment you pause, they push. The moment you set limits, they test. You say, "Not today," and they reply, "Why not?" You say you're busy, and they say, "It'll only take a second." You're never tired in their world, never unavailable, never allowed to choose yourself, because in their eyes, your worth isn't who you are. It's what you give. And when the giving stops, so does the illusion of connection. That's when the mask drops. That's when you hear it. You've changed. You've become selfish. But what they call selfish is actually self-reclamation. You've finally started guarding your time, your energy, your space. You've realized this truth. Giving without limits doesn't make you noble. It makes you a resource. And people don't respect resources. They consume them. You're not here to be consumed. You're here to build, to rise, to lead. And leaders don't pour endlessly into empty hands. The entitled taker fears boundaries, because it exposes what the relationship was really built on: access, not connection. They weren't showing up for you. They were showing up for what you do. Pull back and watch how fast they vanish, and let them. You don't need to chase users, you need to choose yourself. Comment this now: I am not a resource, I am the source. Let them call it ego, let them call it cold. What they're really feeling is the absence of control. When access ends, entitlement collapses, and in that silence they'll finally realize you were never weak, you were just generous. But now, generosity has a lock, and not everyone gets the key. You owe no one your depletion. You owe no one endless yeses. Your time is earned, your presence is a privilege. And when they realize they can no longer take without limit, they'll move on to someone else who hasn't awakened yet. Don't take it personally. See it as a filter. The takers remove themselves. When the well runs dry, so let them leave. You're not here to be drained. You're here to become untouchable. And now you're almost there. On to the next. Number 7, the shift. What happens when you detach? Something strange happens when you start detaching. The world doesn't applaud. It flinches. Because for the first time, you stop moving out of guilt and start moving out of clarity. You speak less. And when you do, it cuts deeper. You show up less. But when you do, your presence lands heavier. You begin to feel this quiet edge, this calm aggression in how you walk, decide, and remove. That's the shift. Detachment is not disconnection, it's dominance, internal, measured and surgical. You're no longer flinching at passive jabs, no longer shrinking to avoid confrontation. You see the patterns now. You smell the manipulation before it fully forms. You feel the emotional hooks mid-air, and you step aside before they land. That's not cold, that's clarity. You begin to understand silence is not the absence of care. It's the presence of control. Your mind becomes lighter, your boundaries sharper, your peace untouchable. People will say you've changed, and you have. You no longer react to every emotional poke. You no longer explain your shifts. You just move, no noise. No need, no permission. And in that stillness, you discover a new kind of strength, the ability to withhold. Attention becomes earned. Access becomes rare. You stop rescuing. You stop overgiving. You stop performing for people. Who wouldn't notice if you disappeared tomorrow? This is when you stop being accessible and start becoming unshakable. Comment this now. Silence is my strategy. Detachment is my edge. Say it again until it carves itself into your posture. You're not distant. You're focused. You're not cruel. You're selective. You're not unavailable. You've just stopped being easily used. And when that happens, the entire game changes. People can no longer guilt you into yes. They can't control you through confusion. They can't drain what they can't reach. Your presence becomes earned. Your approval, rare. Your emotional currency, locked. You are no longer someone they manage. You are someone they measure themselves against. And that is where dominance begins. Not in raising your voice, but in lowering your exposure. Let them feel your absence. Let them wonder what shifted. Let them circle around their own chaos while you remain still. Calm, focused, unreachable. That's the real shift. On to the next. Number 8, reclaiming psychological power. Building the unshakable mind. Power isn't noise, it's discipline disguised as stillness. The unshakable mind doesn't react. It observes. Where others rush to speak, you pause. Where others flinch, you hold. That's not weakness. That's control. When you detach from chaos, something shifts. You start seeing games in real time. Guilt trips become obvious. Emotional bait loses its taste. You don't chase closure. You create distance. You stop needing to be understood. You choose to be undisturbed. That's psychological power, the ability to hold your own mind. When the world tries to bend it, no more begging for peace. You embody it. No more over-explaining to the unworthy. You cut with clarity. You are no longer shaped by opinions, praise, guilt, or noise. You've reclaimed the throne. And that throne is internal. Comment this now. My mind is mine. My peace is earned. My silence is power. Say it once. Say it when you feel tested. Say it until your nervous system obeys. This is not arrogance. It's alignment. You're not becoming someone else. You're becoming who you were before the world convinced you to shrink. One choice at a time. One silence at a time. One cut at a time. The unshakable mind isn't loud. It's precise, and now you're almost complete. Let's close it. Number 9, the final lock-in. Welcome to the void. This is the part where most people look back. Wonder if they were too harsh. Wonder if they cut too deep. Wonder if they're becoming someone unrecognizable. Good, you should be unrecognizable. To the version of you that tolerated being drained. That version is gone. What's left now is silence. And inside that silence, something sharp. Focus. Detachment isn't empty. It's pure, no excess emotion, no mental clutter, just strategy, just stillness. You don't chase, you don't beg, you sit, you watch, you strike, if and when it's necessary. Let them call you cold. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be unshakable. The fewer things that own your mind, the more dangerous you become. You're not numb. You're in control. You don't seek approval. You move with presence, precision, and power. Comment this now. I hold nothing. Nothing holds me. Say it and mean it. Let the takers circle. Let the manipulators talk. Let the noise stay behind. You are in the void now, still watching, waiting, ready to move when it matters. This is Stoic Spark. Like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications, and never forget, power doesn't shout, power withdraws, then returns with precision.